So what will you do when the party's over? So what will you do when the party's over?
Happy New Year's, guys. Welcome to Third Man in the Ring. I'm your host, Ref Popeye Ray. Hey, I've been sweating this guy for over a year to come on my show. He's so busy with all his fighters, and today I just want you to give him a warm welcome. Open up the year with Manny Robles.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manny, for coming on,
Thank
bro.
you, brother. Thank you for having me, man. It's been a long time.
You're a busy
coming.
man. Oh,
Yes.
you
Thank
might
God
think
for
I
that.
was stalking you, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all. We both, but you're a busy man yourself, and it's
Awesome,
just
bro.
it's just a matter of
Finding
catching
that
up and
open
finding the right time, the opportune time, and what better than today, the start of the new year, right? 2026. So
And you,
happy for that.
this is your gym right here?
My gym right here. Sure.
And what's it called?
It's Legends Boxing Academy.
And where you guys at?
We're
Located?
in the city of Southgate.
Tell the fans there.
We're in the city of Southgate, right here in in the neighborhood, man, as they say.
The barrio, almost.
The barrio, yes,
That's
sir,
right.
the barrio. So where legends where real legends are made, real champions are made. You know
Well,
what I
for a
mean?
little advertising purpose, is it an open gym? Is it
Absolutely.
a closed gym? Can the kids come? How does it work?
Absolutely, it is an open gym. It's open to the public, man. We have a great, all as you probably already know, most pros train in the morning, and in the afternoon it's open to the general public. It's open to the kids. We have an after school program. We cater to the kids in the community. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're here. We could go open a gym somewhere else in a nice, in a nice barrio, as you said, and a nice neighborhood. But no, man, this is where legends are made. This is where real champions are made, right here in the neighborhood. So why not cater to the community? And that's what we have a great amateur program. My son, as a matter of fact, leads the amateur program in the afternoons, and he's having great results with that.
So
great.
you train amateurs as well?
Actually, no, my son does.
Your son does.
I stick with the pros, but we do work with some of the amateurs in the morning, especially right now that they're on vacation. I advise my son to some of the top amateurs that he's working with. Why not have them, why not have them come to the gym in the morning and be around the pros and see what a professional atmosphere is like, to train with the pros.
They'll know then,
Exactly.
do I want this?
Exactly.
Especially when that training gets a little bit more intense, right?
Absolutely.
That's awesome, bro.
So we'll know they're for real or not.
So, hey fans, you've seen my opening promotion of Manny. He had Andy Ruiz. He took him to the heavyweight title of the world. Was that awesome or what, bro? I'm speaking from a Mexican background, just to see Andy Ruiz win that title. What was it? It's almost 2 years now, no?
No, it's been several years now. It's been June 1st, 2019. So yeah, it's been a while, man.
By fast, bro.
Exactly. It's been a while. It's a great accomplishment, personal accomplishment on my end.
Both sides.
On both sides, absolutely.
Andy's and yours.
Absolutely. Just sort of like you said, for the Mexican community, the Mexican American community, it was a great experience, great joy, of course. My personal life, it's just definitely one of the top moments in my life. My professional career as a coach and my personal life as well. It's a great accomplishment, man, and it hasn't been repeated since then, and who knows if it'll ever be, but let's hope that it does.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. But Manny, I want you to tell the fans, where did Manny start? Where were you born, real quick?
I'm right down the street, man. I was born in Mexico. I was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. I migrated to the United States when I was 6 years old, man, back in 1978. And a long time. I was 6, and obviously I don't remember a whole lot from back then. Nobody asked me for permission, you know what I'm saying? All I know is I woke up in the U.S. one day, and here I was, and been here ever since. I grew up in the city of Bell, went to Corona.
Just down the street.
Right down the street from Southgate, as a matter of fact. Exactly. And you got HP, you got Southgate, Maywood, all those. Like I said, we're in a barrio, East LA and so forth. But I went to Corona Elementary School in Bell. I went to Nimitz Junior High School.
You weren't even fluent in English, huh?
No,
At that time,
I didn't speak a word of English, bro. It was tough.
What year was this, real quick?
78. back in
I'm a
1978.
dinosaur already, bro. 78. I was ready to marry,
Oh, wow, man.
Wow. So
Yeah.
was that migrating to United States, not knowing English? But let me answer that question somewhat. A lot of Bell kids were from Mexico, so it wasn't really that. I mean, were the teachers hard on you about speaking English or Spanish?
And if I can recall, it was a little complicated, man. To be honest with you,
Because it was very still. Excuse me for interrupting. 78. That was still a little prejudice.
You know, back then it was more prejudice than it is today. Today, I mean,
They'll work with you, right?
that's everywhere. You know, they'll work with you.
They'll
You know,
work with
and
you.
now back then it was pretty tough, man. And to be honest with you, I had a rough time in school. A lot of people don't understand. You know, obviously people that are born in the United States and have been here for throughout time understand. They understand the culture. For me, it was rough, as it was for a lot of other people that came from another country into the States, you know, and it was rough, but
Mind you,
here I am.
Shame on me. Shame on me. I grew up in San Gabriel Valley. At that time, 78 through like 81, it was like Chicanos, Mexicanos.
Right.
And I hated that part because I'd go home and my mom would speak Spanish to me when she would scold me. You know what I mean? But yet at school, we were divided.
Yeah.
And I never understood that. And I just don't to this day, but I think it's gotten better.
A lot better.
A lot better. And really, through the boxing world, that's not even put up with.
Yeah.
You come here, you leave your attitude at home.
Absolutely.
Whether you speak Spanish or not, we're all one here.
right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Whether we're black, white, Mexican. That's one thing I've seen. Tell me if I'm wrong. In the boxing world, it's not so much, he's not even Mexican or he's not Chicano or he's not black. You come here to train, you're going to get trained.
That's it.
And if you don't want to get trained, then this ain't the gym for you, you know?
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
You know? I was raised with Ben Lira through my boxing, so
My guy.
that's what I know, Ben Lira's ways, you know. But coming through the years with you, my son was actually sparring at your gym. I could see you guys have the same mentality pretty much, you know.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you mentioned Ben Lira. Ben Lira's one of my good friends in boxing, man. I look up to people like Ben Lira, like Rudy Hernandez, Nacho Berista.
Yeah.
He's one of the OGs, man. And
OGs, huh?
yeah, for
That's
sure,
right.
bro. And he still comes to my
You're
gym,
getting
as a
there,
matter of
Manny.
fact.
You're getting
Yeah, I
there.
know. I know. Hey, slowly but surely, we're all getting there. But definitely, Ben is
Not to blow
someone-
smoke, the criteria, you're getting there, bro. You're there. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that, man. It's just a
You're
matter
there.
of staying grounded, you know, staying grounded.
You're with the
losing
Robert
track.
Garcias, the Freddie Roaches,
The Ben Lira.
the Ben Lira, you know what I mean? And that's why, again, fans, that's why I kept sweating him for this interview. This is a man that knows boxing, lives boxing, and as they say, you know, he's been there, done that. You know what I mean? He took, again, heavyweight championship of the world, not to mention other fighters. And as you know, guys, as a professional referee, because I got to watch what I say because people tend to think, oh, I'm favoring this fighter. I would never do that in my career. But I can't speak on Manny's fighters, but in this interview, we're going to talk to Manny about his fighters. So getting out of Mill Elementary, did boxing ever come?
Yeah.
Was it
So my, you know, it normally starts with your folks, right? My dad was the first one to bring me to the gym. You know, my dad was a former boxer himself back in Mexico, and so you know, obviously back in '78, my dad was still a young man.
Yeah.
And looking for a gym to train in, and he took me to Azteca Gym.
Oh,
Very well-known gym back in the day.
Azteca Gym.
Yeah,
man.
Azteca Gym in the city of Bell. A lot of great champions went through that gym.
Didn't
man.
Chavez even go there to train a few
Absolutely.
times?
Chavez trainer. Every time he was in the area in LA, he always came to Azteca. That was his gym.
And that gym's still open, no?
As a matter of fact, it shut down a couple of years ago, which is sad to say, man. But not a lot of gyms like Azteca are around anymore. Probably Azteca, probably the last, the last old school gym, you know.
Gym,
And Main Street Gym, Hoover Gym,
Yeah, I
and so
remember
forth and
that.
so on. They're
I used
all
to take
gone,
us there, yeah.
and including Azteca. So it's sad, but it's sad to say, but it was
But it's
obviously
nostalgia.
Yeah, absolutely.
To even say you went to that gym,
Yeah.
like, oh, that guy
Brings
knows
a lot of
boxing.
memories, man.
A lot of memories.
A lot of good
bro.
memories, yeah.
So you went there and
And-
tried some amateur
Yeah,
fighting?
Absolutely, and that's my first gym. That's where I got started. I got my feet wet, and Azteca, obviously my dad being my first coach, my mentor, my teacher, and I obviously an amateur fighter, but probably had around 100 amateur fights, and then went pro, and did the pro scene for a little while, and then eventually one thing led to another, and here I am,
Here we are
40
today.
something odd years later, coaching.
What are you,
man.
like 25 or something, bro?
How old am I? Shit, I wish I was 35. No, man, I'm 54. 54.
You look young,
Yeah,
brother.
thank you, man. I try to keep myself in the gym, man. That's what keeps me young, man. Young.
Yeah?
It's
Yeah.
the gym. Being in the gym, being around
so
fighters.
after your amateur career, you never thought about pro?
Yeah, absolutely. I fought pro.
Oh, so
I
you
did the
did
pro.
fight pro,
Yeah, I did. I had a handful of pro fights. I had about 6 professional fights.
Who was training you there? Dad
My
too?
dad. Always my dad.
I want to get to that question later about dad, father, and son teams. How
Yeah.
does that work? You know what I mean?
It's rough.
But we'll get to that though, because that's a juicy question that
Yeah.
I get fans saying, "Oh, it works," and what about this, and what about? But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So you fight, win, lose. When did training as a
I mean, I just, it's
as Manny saying to himself, "You know what? I think I'll train."
Yeah, you know what it is? What it was back then? I always had the feeling, I always knew that boxing was for me. You know what I mean? Even
It's in your blood.
It was in my blood. It was something that I was destined to do. It's God put me on that path.
God had a plan,
I really
bro.
believe that. God put me on that path and say, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to end up doing. Obviously, growing up, man, I worked in, you name it. I had every single job there was to have, back in the day. And obviously going to school, high school, and after high school, you're going to work and working, making ends meet, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Eventually got married, had my wife, kids. Gotta
How many
go to
kids you
work.
got, brother?
Got 3 kids, man.
3 kids.
Got 3
Boy,
kids.
girls?
I have twins, boy and a girl,
Wow.
twins. 31 years old, and I have my youngest daughter, 25. That's my baby. Right
Oh, so they're adults already now.
adults.
But you always be dad though, no?
3 granddaughters, so
Yeah.
dad, grandfather now. So yeah, like I said, one thing led to another with boxing, and it was
If
just
you don't mind
something
me
that-
asking, the wife supports you in this?
She always has. It's funny, man. Boxing it's been my life. So I met my wife through boxing.
Oh, okay.
Actually, as a matter of fact, my last.
So she knows no other Manny but boxing.
bro,
right?
her brothers were both boxers, Estrellita and Avispon. A lot of people know them by Estrellita and Avispon.
What was their names?
Edgar Hassel, she's one of my
okay.
Estrellita, one of my assistant coaches, and Salvador Hassel, and they call him
Yeah,
Avispon.
I know
Back
Sal.
they came out of East LA, but Lorena.
He fought Fernando Vargas.
As a matter of fact,
no?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
What
cool.
does he
Yeah.
do? He broke his neck, no?
Yeah, he broke his neck, and
Because I was
he-
wondering where in the heck did he go? Eh?
Yeah.
And he told me he broke his neck.
Yeah,
that's
it's
crazy,
rough,
bro.
man. Fought Fernando, like you said.
Yeah, he
and
fought
He was
Fernando.
actually the number 1 rated amateur in the nation at that time.
Yeah.
And then here comes this kid, Fernando Vargas, out of Oxnard. Nobody knew about him.
I seen him
He just
fight
came
one
out of
time.
nowhere,
Yeah.
and he just beat him and took him out the rankings.
The
And
ranking, yeah.
And one thing led to another, and Fernando became an Olympian and so forth
Yeah.
and so on. Good friend, by the way, Fernando.
That's right.
Vargas.
That's
Very
right.
good friend.
A lot of love in boxing,
Yeah,
bro.
a lot of love, absolutely.
So, Manny, who was when you start training, where did you start training out of?
When I started training LA boxing,
And that's when you
Remember
actually
boxing?
said, I'm going to be a trainer?
that's when I said, as a trainer, as a coach, I started assisting my dad. One thing led to another. Obviously, I had a
Is
job at
Dad's-
the time.
Dad's still around?
My dad passed away on March 3rd, 2007.
May he rest in peace.
sir.
What was his name?
Manuel Robles, just
Oh,
like
so you're a junior, huh?
Junior, yes.
There you go,
Chato,
Manuel.
they call him Chato.
I wonder if I ever met him, man.
You probably did.
Probably
man.
did.
You probably
I've been
did.
around
Good
Ben
friends
since
with
I-
Ben Lita, exactly. So
I've been around
probably
Ben
did.
since I was 8. I'm 63 now, so
I'll check you out.
I had to be.
You
I
look
had to-
good for 63, brother.
My wife made me put lotion on.
Yeah,
it.
oh, that's
She made
it,
me
huh?
shower today.
She made
It's
me
a light.
shave.
It's a light, see? So,
Right on.
who was your first? You had amateurs, obviously.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, that's how one of my, obviously, just like my dad started coaching with me as his first boxer, first amateur boxer, that is. And it's something similar to that happened to me with my son. I was already assisting my dad with other professional boxers. I was my dad's assistant coach, right-hand man. But then when my dad passed away, long story short, my dad passed away. So when he did, I had to go do it on my own. So when I did it on my
Let me get a
own,
little personal here. Tell me if
ahead.
it's none of my business. When Dad passed, did you say that's it? I'm done, or
no, never,
already knew
never
you had to
that,
take
bro.
up the reins,
never,
huh?
never that. Exactly. I just knew that I had to do it on my own. I just knew that when my dad passed away, I had to start from scratch and build my own name.
There you
nobody,
go.
Nobody gave me nothing.
And you've
Nothing
done
was
that, Manny.
Thank you.
And you've done that, eh?
Yeah, nobody handed me anything. You know what I mean?
You worked for it all.
My dad was gone, and I said, "Hey, man, now I got to go out there and do it on my own." But of course, boxing wasn't providing for me at that time. You know what I mean? So I was a carpenter. I was a union carpenter, local 409 back in the day.
There you go, union man.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right,
I'm a union man too. Eh?
And
Where'd you learn that trade?
man, I just picked up the
Picked
trade,
up
man.
the hammer and nail and went for it,
And
huh?
I went for it, bro. A good friend of mine, my compadre Alex. What's up, Alex? He's the one that got me.
Shout out to Alex.
That's
eh?
right, man. He's a big reason why I'm here too. You know,
Amen, eh?
I mean, people build people. You
That's
don't
right.
get here on your own.
That's
So
right.
he's one of the, one of my up until today. He's one of my good friends and my compadre, as a matter of fact. So went the union way, and that's hard labor, man. That's hard work. That ain't.
You gotta
that's
start
real
from the
work.
bottom, bro.
That's real. Exactly.
You gotta start from the bottom, man. Go
and-
get that nail. Go
That's
get this.
it.
You gotta
You know how
suck
they
it up a
write
little
you,
bit.
bro. They
yeah.
write you.
That's right, man.
But it was it was a great experience for me, back at
So that's how you fed the family at first, right?
It was I had to go to work, and so obviously after work I come home, get some grub and a little bit of rest, and straight to the gym. Kids would come home from school, and my son, and straight to the gym, and that's where I began my journey on my own as a coach. with my son. And glad to say my son became an accomplished amateur fighter, won multiple national titles, was one of the top amateurs in the nation.
Is he a junior también?
He's a Manny Robles the third,
The
man.
third, there
You
you
know how
go.
we do it, man. Manny Robles the third.
I probably know him too, man.
You probably rep some of his fights, man.
I just don't click. It doesn't click sometimes, bro.
That's right.
But
Good kid, and now he's my assistant coach. He became obviously an amateur, from amateurs to pro, fought for the world title, became the NABF champ, with one of the
of
top
course I know
rated
him.
fighters in the
It's not
world.
clicking. That's all.
That's right. And when he became one of the top rated fighters in the world, got a shot at the world title. Unfortunately, came up short, but he fought for the world title. He was, top fighter definitely at his time. And anyway, now he's one of my assistant coaches.
Oh, cool.
So I got it's all family, man.
I was just gonna say it's a family thing, huh?
Yeah. Edgar, Estrellita, my son Manny, and Matias, my strength and conditioning coach, and myself. So
Wow.
This is home, man.
So those Thanksgiving
That's what
dinners, they go
right.
pretty smooth, no?
Pretty nice, man. No, for sure, man.
Tuesday,
Yeah, you know how it is. You could say, listen, Edgar threatens me when, hey, man, listen, man, I'm going to tell my sister.
That's right.
Yeah, so
That's
but
right.
it's all good, though. It's all good. I mean, it's just, we're a lot of discipline, Like I said, nothing's been handed to me, and I try to make sure that I tell them that. I let them know that, hey, listen, you guys are going to be working with me. You guys got to show up every day. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, right here. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, right here, man. Training, birthdays.
You same with your fighters as well?
anniversaries.
Same with your fighters?
Same with my fighters, man. You just saw them all leave a little while ago. They're here on a Saturday, doing their thing, and you gotta live boxing, man. It's every day.
Or you're gonna get hurt.
Exactly. You can't play boxing like they say, right?
That's right. You're gonna get hurt, and you can't turn around and blame your trainer if you weren't there when you were supposed to be there, or if you didn't do your road work. That's on you, bro.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
With that said, Manny, again, I can't speak on it, but you could tell the fans, who do you have in your stable right now? I know who you have, but tell the fans who you have.
Well, as you probably all know, Andy Ruiz is back. He's been training here with me for the last couple of weeks or so. And, we're hopefully looking forward to fighting either March or April this year. And obviously Oscar Valdez is back as well. We just had a fight a couple months ago. He should be back in the next week or so.
These are big names, guys.
Yeah, and then obviously Brandon Figueroa He's fighting for the world title on February the 7th. We'll be going to Liverpool, England.
A lot of traveling, huh?
A lot of traveling, bro. And who else? Let's see. Gael Cabrera, up and coming talent, very, very good fighter from Sonora, Mexico. Fights on January the 16th. And Misuki Ruta, the super flyweight WBO world champion. Ring Magazine top rated fighter in the world.
I seen that.
Number 1. And who else do we have? Let's see. We have Toro Resendiz, Armando Resendiz, a super middleweight WBA world champion. He beat Caleb Plant for the world title.
That was an awesome fight.
Yeah.
I refereed him in
Did you?
at the Toyota Center.
Oh yeah, with Jared Hurd.
When he
what a fight that was, huh?
Oh, that was vicious, bro.
Yeah,
That was vicious.
great win, great victory for Toro.
Yeah.
Definitely put him on the map, and yeah, he's a world champion now, man.
And you know what? Let me jump the gun. I'm going to jump around here because we don't have scripts here. Manny, is it true? I'm asking as a trainer, is it true styles make fights?
Absolutely.
Because he won that fight and then lost to Garcia. Was it Garcia?
Yeah.
But yet I never heard nothing from Garcia.
Garcia's a very, very good fighter, man.
But didn't he lose his very next fight?
He lost his fight, and then we fought him with Terrell Goucher. We believe we beat him, but he gave he got the decision, a split decision, as a matter of fact.
And the reason I asked that, Manny, because some of the fans had, when I told them, hey, I'm going to be interviewing Manny Robles. Well, why is it he won all these and then he lost to them?
Yeah, it's boxing, man.
It's boxing, right?
Yeah, everybody wins. The other guy on the other end wants to win too, man. Everybody wants to win, bro.
Nobody came to lose, right?
Listen, man. I mean, this is what you signed up for. You gotta. That's why we work as hard as we do. You gotta understand the guy in the other corner wants to win too, man. And so, at the end of the day, may the best fighter win, right? But it's not for lack of training or lack of showing up, you know?
And that's what I want to push, guys. Manny, you just said the golden word.
Yeah.
It's not of lack of training. And I always used to tell, I have 5 sons. They all fought amateur. And I said, hey, if you lose and you gave it your all, that's all I ask. It just does. But if you lose because you didn't run, you're not eating right, you're not listening to Ben trained them, not me.
Right
you know what? Don't cry to Ben. Don't cry to me. It was your fault. You know what I mean? It was your fault.
Right.
But if you lose fair and square, hey, that guy just had a better day that day. So I mean, if I could ask you something personal for your fighters that are contracted, do you make the decision who they fight?
A lot of the times, yes. Obviously, but some of the times, I should say, some of the times they'll ask me for my advice. Managers will ask me for my advice, including promoters. I have that type of relationship with some of the promoters I work with and managers as well, where they'll call me and they'll ask me for my advice. And like you said, styles make fights if it's the right fight, or sometimes it's the opportunity. You get a shot at the world title. You don't pick and choose which fight, which champion you want to fight, right?
Me at 185 pounds, they asked me to fight the heavyweight title to pay my bill. I'd do it in a second, bro.
Absolutely, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
To fight the best. To be the best, you got to fight the best.
That's right.
To be a world champion, you got to fight the world champion.
And in my opinion, I've seen all of your fighters, they take those fights, bro.
Yeah, and listen, we don't always win, but hey, we're going to,
you make a good show.
Rest assured, we're going to go out there and we're going to
give it your all.
Give it our all. Obviously the fighters are the ones stepping into the ring, but I'm always try to be certain, make sure that my fighters, first and most importantly, make weight. A lot of people, obviously, you got to make weight first, and as you all know, and you got to be a professional, man. I really believe that not making weight is showing up to the day of the weigh-in, the weigh-in ceremony, not making weight is truly an embarrassment when you don't make the weight.
And I
pride
won't
myself on that.
I won't say names, because they're my friends. I've known them since. When they don't make weight consistently, like 2-3 fights, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yeah. What's going on?
You're not only embarrassing yourself, your promoter, you're embarrassing yourself. You're bringing shame to the game. And mind you guys, I've never fought pro. The reason Ben told me better be a referee and not a fighter is because I couldn't drop my weight. But I sparred hundreds of times with Ben, but when you get to drop the weight, when you get you're not gonna fight like that. No, So I'm just saying, as a sports fan, not a referee, but as a sports fan, you got to be disciplined.
Absolutely.
And that's one of my questions to you. Let's just say Andy came in, or let's just say your girlfriend from Japan.
Yeah, Misuki.
Let's just say she came in overweight. what would you do in that situation? Or you knew she was going to be overweight in that situation?
I can't say because it's never happened, because I make sure it doesn't happen. We have to do whatever we got to do to make weight. I don't care if you chop an arm off or what, but you gotta come in on weight.
Yeah, and that's
it's part of being a professional fighter.
Yes,
you got to stay disciplined. You got to watch your weight, and it goes without saying. But it happens, of course, you know. But when it continues to happen with the same fighter time and time again, you know, that's a sign. And sometimes,
how would you handle that sign?
How would I handle that? Well, first of all, it's embarrassing when you don't make weight, right? And so you let them know, hey, listen, you know, we gotta show face. And who's to blame when a fighter doesn't make weight? They don't look at the fighter; they look at the coach.
Do they?
Absolutely. The majority of the time, it's like, hey, what happened? You're the coach. What went wrong? You didn't get the job done. That's part of my job. It's making sure that the fighter makes weight. You know, and more even in a loss, a fighter loses. You know, we're always the ones to blame. You know, nobody looks at the fighter. Everybody looks at the coach. Like, well, what went wrong? Particularly promoters, managers, and so forth and so on. You know, normally we're the ones to blame for the defeat, for the loss. But what do you do, man? You got to grow thick skin and just move on. You know, move forward. I have a saying in boxing: we either win or we learn. You know what I mean? But I don't believe
the fans that one.
We win or we learn. We either win or we
learn.
either learn. You know what I'm saying? But I don't believe in defeats. I don't believe in losses. I believe in learning. We got a chance to, hey, we walk away with the now. That's an opportunity to learn and get better, because you learn more from your defeats than you do from your wins.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Exactly. I mean, some of these fighters that never lose, sometimes when they do lose, it breaks them.
Absolutely.
It breaks their spirit. And then you really know, and this is my opinion, then you really know what they're about.
Right.
You know, just like some fighters, that I know this is a whole different story. When some fighters get knocked out, sometimes they can't come back from it, right?
It just depends on the knockout, you know. Some of these knockouts are devastating knockouts that take a lot out of you, you know?
Do you think that the fighters of the 70s are different from the fighters now?
Oh, yeah. They're definitely
They're
different.
machines now, huh?
Yeah, well,
with all the...
You know, it's you know, evolution, right?
Yeah.
It's evolution, man. Things are different now. But back in the day, you know what it was with boxers back in the day is like activity. Activity matters. So fighters back in the day were active. You know, they were fighting once a month, every other month. You know, they were busy. Whereas today, you know, boxers, a lot of world champions today, they fight twice a year and that's it. Back then, man, you look at fighters like Chavez, man. Look at fighters like Oscar De La Hoya, you know, Bobby Chacon and Ruben Olivares and so forth and so on.
They were fighting like
Albert Davila, my good friend Albert,
3-4 months. Fighting,
yeah, they stayed. Buddy McGirt.
Yeah, Buddy McGirt.
You know, stay busy, man, busy, and you gotta stay busy. You gotta stay active. Activity matters. I don't care if you spend a whole year in the gym, but if you're not fighting, if you're not in that ring, you know, wearing them 8-10 ounce gloves, no headgear, and going to work, it's different. It's not the same thing as being in the gym wearing a headgear and wearing 16 ounce gloves. It's different, man. So it's important for fighters to have activity, and that's the difference between fighters back then that stayed active and fighters today that are not so active. You know what I mean?
And this is why I say, as God is my witness, now in the 20th century, I've never seen corruption in boxing. You know what? With all the cameras and the videos, you'd be stupid to do something stupid.
Absolutely.
But I do see politics. And what I mean by politics is, well, this belt, that belt, there's so many belts right now. You know, you mandatory have to fight him. And this is why I say, and tell me if I'm wrong, Manny, if you're not locked into a good promoter or manager, it's going to be hard to get that shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's hard to get that shot. You got some club fighters, tell me if I'm wrong, that are fighting in clubs, you know, the Quiet Canyon. You know, you got
going to Mexico.
Going to Mexico.
Right.
But they can't get that shot. How do you feel about that, bro?
Well,
unfortunately, you obviously don't have that because you got the name already, and you have the client. you have the clientele, I guess. If that's like
No, look, bro. I'll tell you right now. I have fighters that are club fighters. I have fighters like you mentioned that fight at the Quiet Cannon, Thunder Studios, and so forth and so on. Nothing wrong with those.
Yeah,
places.
nothing wrong with it.
Up and coming
great,
fighters.
great shows.
Great shows, as a matter of fact. And going to Mexico, keeping them busy. Why? Because they're not signed. And they haven't been given that opportunity yet. But sometimes we got to work for that. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Nobody, like I said, nobody's gonna hand you anything. You gotta work for it. Yeah. And sometimes you just have to put in that extra work, and you have to invest. You have to invest not only obviously hard work, dedication, and so forth and so on, money. You know what I mean? If I believe in a fighter, I gotta invest in that fighter. I also manage a couple kids that I up and coming fighters that some of them are signed now. Some of the, like Lupita Medina, she's number 2 in the world, IBF. She's close to getting a shot at a world title now, and she's right there.
She's signed?
But she's signed. She's signed to, if I may say, 360 with Tom Lawfer.
Tom Lawfer.
And gave us the opportunity. But I had put her in glove shows, went to Central America and Costa Rica, went to Mexico, and look at her now. Thank you to Tom and 360.
That's a question totally answered in detail.
There you go.
You know what I mean? You have to put the work in, yeah.
Got to put the work in, and gave her the opportunity. She's signed now. She's an up and coming, talent, and she's ranked number 2 in the world now. So she's this close to fighting for a world title.
There, huh?
Don't give up on your goals, man.
Knocking on that door, huh?
Don't give up on your dreams. Misuki Ryuta came from Japan.
Yeah.
Came to me from Japan. Already a world champion, but she wasn't signed. She didn't have a promoter. Can you imagine that, being a world champion and you don't have a promoter? How is that? So, she's fighting in Japan, of course, and she's already a world champion.
And that's surprising, Manny, because when she fights, the Japanese people just totally support her.
So listen to this, man. These stories, man, these are real stories. These are true stories about up and coming, never give up on your goals and your dreams. For any female or male fighters out there that feel like they don't have an outlet, you got to work for it, man. Nobody's going to hand you anything. There's always somebody out there that's willing to give you an opportunity. Because people, like I said, people build people. Fight. It takes a community of people to build talent, to build a champion. I don't want to hear about anybody that said, I did it on my own, because I don't believe that. Everybody, everybody needed someone at some
Even
point.
your sparring partner helped you.
Exactly. Thank you. And so with Misuki, she came from Japan without a promoter, and thank you to Tom and 360, giving the opportunity. She got signed this year alone. At the start of the year, she's had world champions. She's had 4 world title defenses in 2025. Not only that, she's ranked Ring Magazine. She's the rated number 1 fighter in the world at 115. 4 world title defenses is unheard of nowadays, for a world champion. And obviously she was handed the ring belt, and she's ranked number 1 in the world at 115 in a year. So everything changed for her.
Props to her and you,
Everything changed for her, man. And before that, fighting once a year as a world champion. Only had 2 fights in 2 years as a world champion. Came to the United States, man, and everything changed. That's why it's the land of opportunities, man. Right. It's just like every fighter, as you know, Manny Pacquiao wouldn't be Manny Pacquiao if he never fought in the U.S. But he was given an opportunity because nobody knew about Manny. But the moment he stepped into that ring, man, and he did his thing with
he actually lost his first 1 or 2 fights.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't undefeated. And when he fought for the world title, he was the underdog. Nobody knew who Manny was. And all that fought on show. I remember this perfectly. Fought a kid from South Africa, solid world champion. And Manny, nobody knew who he was, man. And he came in and demolished this guy, knocked him out. And ever since then, man, Manny Pacquiao became a household name, and one of the top fighters in the world, of all time. So, it starts with a dream, and don't let go of that dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm a testament to that. So.
Let me get into another question.
Sure.
How do you feel about father-son teams?
Oh man, my dad was tough, man. My dad was old school. Oh man, I heard about every single thing there is in a book to hear, you know, every curse word.
So can you say, is it fair to say with Manny Robles it worked?
With me?
When your dad cornered you?
With me? Oh man, it worked because he molded me, man. I grew up in a tough environment, you know.
Just the streets
Just
are
the streets,
tough,
man.
tough enough.
But you know what? I'll tell you what, though, the streets, to mention the streets, I was more scared of my dad than I was the streets. You know what I'm saying? So for me to come home and see my dad and face my dad, if I did something wrong, if I did something I wasn't supposed to, I was more scared of my
That's
dad.
old school, bro.
You know?
I didn't have any father.
Forget it.
Ben was the closest thing to my dad, but I was afraid of Ben, eh?
Yeah.
I go to
there
the
you
gym,
go.
he had that look, I was like, wow, but no, you're right. Yeah. But on other notes, I've seen where, I'm not going to mention any names, where the father just won't stop the fight. Mm-hmm. Or you know, that's my son. He's duro, you know, he's tough. And I'm like, me as a ref,
beatings in the gym, beatings in the fights, and they don't seem to throw in the towel. That's horrible, man. I obviously, I've never had that happen to me with my son. You know, my son was a pretty talented fighter and a pretty good boxer at that, and never had to throw in the towel or stop a fight, you know. Always in a good fight and never out of, you know, he was always there. But I've had other instances with other fighters where I've had to step in and stop fights.
And I've seen you do that too.
You know, I got to do what I got to do. I got to make sure that they go home. And that's what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to losses or protecting your fighters, right? You got to protect their well-being. You got to understand that they have wives and kids waiting for them at home, parents.
So Ben would say.
You know what I mean? So you got to do what you got to do, man. I mean, I got to make sure that they're able to go home, and that's happened. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it happens, you got to be prepared for them type of situations. I'm not going to wait for you or the doctor to say, that's it. You know, if I know and I understand that my fighter isn't in the fight and is taking a beating, well, let me take that initiative and say, hey, listen, well, let's call it a night. Let's call it a night. Let's live to see another day and move on from there.
I personally, as a referee, nobody ever sees that, but when I give instructions, I always tell the fighter, I'd rather you be upset with me tonight than your mom and dad hating me in the morning.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So if I have to stop the fight, you could F-bomb me all you want.
That's right.
But tomorrow you'll still be F-bombing me, not your parents, you know what I mean?
That's right.
But the reason why I say that is because I grew up with Ben, my only one that ever trained, the only trainer I ever grew up with. He didn't allow fathers even in the gym, bro. You know, you knew my son, Adrian Corona.
Yeah, of course.
He trained with Ben. He had 14 fights, 1 loss. And I never seen him spar, bro.
Really?
Never seen him spar. The whole 4 years he was
So you weren't allowed either?
Ben didn't allow me in the gym.
Man.
Ben always used to say, you know, I didn't have a dad, but he goes, I want my fighters, when they're in the corner and they're in a tough position, they need to look to me, not to dad in the second row or yelling instructions over there. That's Ben.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not every trainer's like him, but that was Ben. So, you know, that's why I ask all my interviews with trainers, how do you feel about the father-son, you know? But on another note, look at Joe Frazier when he had his son fight Mike Tyson. You know, Mike Tyson, before he actually knocked him out, he looked at Joe like, stop this. I don't know if you remember that fight.
No.
He fought Joe Frazier's son, and he looked at him like, are you going to stop this? And Joe Frazier didn't stop it, and he knocked him out bad, bro. We'll show that on the
I gotta see that
screen. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
But it just some fathers, I just feel, you know what, they're
ego,
not
maybe
ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, I never fought amateur, but I sparred and through the gang life and going to jail, youth authority, and all that. You know, shame on me, but I lived through my 5 sons. When I finally got my life right, my son's going to be the toughest. My son's. They used to spar at Ben's gym, and then right after spent, all right, get into your football uniform. We go play tackle football because my sons were the toughest.
Right.
It wasn't until later when I got remarried, had Adrian and his 2 other brothers, I go, what the hell was I thinking? You know what I mean? What was I thinking? You know, how dangerous I was doing to my children just so I could say, oh, my sons are chingones, you know what I mean?
Had an opportunity to learn, man.
Yeah, I learned, bro.
Doing
I
boxing,
learned, you know?
man.
Adrian's still a knucklehead though.
You
but-
compare. He's a good kid, man. He's a very good kid. Listen, you compare a lot boxing to real life, man.
Yeah.
You get knocked down, you get back up again. You know what I mean? It's just like every day, people are always making comparisons to life with boxing. You know, and there's a lot there, especially for the Mexican American community. For us,
we do have that machismo thing in us.
we do.
Let's admit that part.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
We're not going to quit.
Yeah.
What did Dana White say? When you can fight like a Mexican, then you badass.
It's in our
you know?
DNA, man.
It's in our DNA.
A lot of people ask themselves how, why. You know, I get an opportunity to travel the world and go to many different countries. Thanks to God, thanks to God and boxing, of course, giving this opportunity. And they ask me, hey, what is it about Mexicans, man, or Mexican Americans? What do you guys? I said, I don't know, man. I wish I wish I had the answer, but it's in our DNA.
Yeah.
That's just something we love to fight, man. You know, we love to go to work in the morning, and you know, nobody beats us at that, you know. And then we love to fight, man.
There was a comedian that said, "Hey, why is it everybody's talking about how were the pyramids made?" You know, he goes, "But yet the ones in Mexico, nobody
questions
that.
that.
The Mexicans built that."
Yeah, right? Everybody questions the pyramids in Egypt, like who built them, right?
Yeah,
but nobody questions who built the pyramids in Mexico, right? So hey, listen,
thank you, Jesus. My son's always seen me work, so they all got up and work. You know.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah,
be a good role model.
Let me get a little personal here.
Go for it.
And we're changing the subject. If you don't want to answer it, don't answer it. You know, I understand. How do you feel when a fighter leaves you?
Not good. It doesn't feel good, and I'll tell you why. Because when you allow them to come in, and when you walk through that door, and they become part of the family, they become part of your family. It's personal. It isn't just a boxer coach kind of thing where you come in and you go to work, you show up to work, you clock in, you clock out, and you go home. No, It's personal, man. And I really believe that because how else can you expect a fighter to believe in you and to trust you and to
you learn their family, you meet their family.
Absolutely.
You
spend holidays in the gym. You know, you're spending like I mentioned to you. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and we're together. We're in the gym training. You spend more time in the gym than you do with your family.
And this is why I said, I didn't have any father figure. My brothers who were gang members were, how that worked out. But Ben was my more than enough times when he goes, where are you sleeping at night? And he'd let me come to his house and you're going to be all right. Ben was a tough love. You know what I mean? When I'd be walking the streets, he'd like, what are you doing, man? Come on, get in the car. It wasn't,
Ben is a softie, man.
It wasn't the hug. It was more like, you're going to be all right.
That's right.
You're going to be all right. He would talk to me like that. And it did. It turned out all right. I had my ups and downs, but I understand. And now, and that question wasn't directly towards him, but now that Andy's back, did you take him with open arms?
No, we had that talk. We had to. I'm a man.
That's right.
We got to have that talk. You want to come back, we got to make some changes. Same thing with Oscar. Oscar being world champion.
I was going to ask that. That was my next one.
Yeah, same thing. He showed, look, Oscar, I was minding my own business in my gym, training. He showed up one day, unannounced, walked in through that door with a suitcase. You know why he's carrying that suitcase? Because he had a two-way ticket, but he came in that day thinking if I said no, he was gonna he's gonna ride back straight to the airport and go home. But he had a suitcase, so he was ready, for a yes or a no. Anyway, we had a long conversation, we had a long talk, straighten out a couple of things and, talk man to man. And I'm a forgiving man, God forgives me of my sins.
That's right.
Listen, nobody's perfect.
You want to be forgiven, you got to forgive, bro.
You got to forgive. And, we had that talk and we sat down and we straightened out a couple of things and it's like he never left. And that's the thing with me, man. When I give in 100% to the fullest. I don't give you 50%. I don't give you 75%. I'm gonna give you everything I got, everything I have. But I expect the same in return.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And if it happens again, then shame on me. But I'm not gonna I'm not going to change who I am, the person that I am.
Yeah, you can't, bro.
I can.
You can't. You got to be Manny. Everybody's got to respect you for Manny, not because he changed for me. Because then there won't be no respect,
Exactly.
bro. But to the old cliche, if it wasn't broken, why fix it? If it wasn't
question.
broken, why? I'm not asking, and I don't want that information. But if he got you there, why'd you leave? Yeah. And I'll leave it at there. I'll leave it at there because I don't want to know. That's your own personal business. Right. But again, if he took you to the top, you shouldn't have left, bro. You know what I mean? And those are two great fighters, bro. We'll go down in history. Yeah. We'll go down in history. Oscar is one of the most exciting fighters I've ever met in my life. And Andy speaks for himself as well, Right. And I'm happy they came home. I'm happy they came home. And I can only say God's luck to them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But on another note, and be nice, Manny. How do you feel about the referees and judges? What would you like to see with that?
Man. Well, the referees and judges, I have nothing but the utmost respect for referees and judges, man. Everybody's got a job to do, and nobody's perfect, I believe you guys have a huge responsibility in your hands. You guys, like you said, man, you guys got to make sure that the fighters go home in one piece. And if you got to stop a fight, you got to stop a fight. Sometimes you guys will take criticisms for stopping fights prematurely. But I'm not in your position.
Thank you.
You know what you're seeing. You know what you're doing. You know what you're looking at. You're that close. Nobody's closer to the action than you are. And so, utmost respect. I have a great relationship with the commission and
to toot our own,
so forth.
To toot our own horn, we are the most trained in the world.
Man,
bro.
Forget about it. One of the best in the world.
Jack Ruiz and Tom Taylor have this class.
Yourself?
We have officials that come from all over the world to their training, bro.
Right on.
You know what I mean? And,
that's awesome.
And that's because Andy Foster and Mark Relia, they hold us accountable, bro.
Right on.
We can break bread and have comida after a fight, but if we drop the ball as a judge or referee, we won't, like Andy says, not the end of the world. You're going to be sit down a little while, but you'll be back in the ring, Ray.
So that's
So, he keeps us accountable, bro. Like Andy Foster, the executive officer, he says, if you bring shame or any controversy that I don't feel was right, you will not work.
That's it.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
Like Andy says, I okay fights, not beatings. So if a fighter is beaten and you didn't stop the fight, Ray, they're not going to work until I feel you're ready to work. If you judge a fight, and he's talking to the judge, you judge a fight and you're totally way out here with the other two officials, and I feel, and our commentators start bad-mouthing California, you better have a good explanation or you're not going to work.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I that's tooting our own horn, and again, we have officials from all over the world coming to our training, But I'm glad you feel that good about us. For a while there, I thought you were going to say,
man, not at all.
Ray, you're the worst.
As a matter of fact,
I know I'm the best looking, but not the worst.
there you go. You know what? And what I would like to see is just like you mentioned right now about you have different referees or commissions coming in to coming in to learn from the California State Athletic Commission, the referees that is. That's great, but I truly believe that you guys should hold some type of a conference or a yearly thing for the boxing coaches. Not only amateur coaches, obviously amateur coaches, but professional coaches as well. Coaches that work with pros and so forth, or pros and amateurs, to educate us about what it is that you see in the fight.
Well, Manny, let me cut you off there. We have that.
Oh, do you?
We have that. Yeah. And you could call Jack.
Next
you could
time
call Jack Reese. You could call Jack Reese. His next class will be next year.
Okay.
Around Labor Day. It's always on Labor Day. Right. It's in Las Vegas. And he always asks, you guys are welcome to come.
This year.
It just passed. But this year it'll be Labor Day again.
Okay. Right.
They're actually having a class this Friday in Las Vegas.
Okay.
But next year in Labor, I will definitely
Please call me. I would love to.
He always asks commentators, you're welcome to come. I want you to see what we're looking at. He would take you with open arms.
Right on.
Manny,
I will
come
do that.
see what we're trained to do and what we're looking at. So when that time comes, you'll say, okay, I understand now, you know.
You'll have less arguments between coaches and
Yes.
referees at times, or you know what I mean? Because everybody looks for accountability.
Yes.
We all want to
and
hold
we should be
accountable, you know?
And we should be.
Right?
These guys are giving up their life.
That's right.
And let's admit it, guys, it's entertainment, but they're giving up their lives to entertain everybody, even that guy in the nosebleed section. So us as officials, judges and referees, we need to be trained to the elite level so they don't get hurt. So that guy that spent his hard-working money to buy that cheap seat is entertained. You know what I mean? So no, I totally agree with that. And we need to be held accountable, even myself, you know. I'm not perfect, but every time I get in that ring, I say, God, let me stop it on time, period. Let me stop it on, keep it safe, but stay out of the way. The last thing the best compliment you could give me is, I didn't know you refereed that fight, Ray. Thank you, Jesus.
I didn't even know you were there, right?
You know what I
That's
mean?
when you know you
I don't
did a
want to
good
even
job.
be involved, bro.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's
I
a
don't
sign
wanna
of a
be
good
involved.
ref, right?
Yes, exactly. And when you over officiate, like shut up and get out of the way, bro. I personally like to let them work out of their clinches because you might have some fighters that like working the body. And if I go break it right away, I'm stealing from them. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's a good point. It's a good point, man.
But next year, when they have that class, I'm going to shoot it out
Please.
to all the trainers.
Yeah, put it out there.
Take a day out, go up there,
You know,
and see what we're looking at. Then you
spend a
might
couple
say,
hours, right?
yeah, spend a couple hours. to
Educate
hit-
us, and you know, it's about growth, man.
That's
It's
right.
about growing. It's
That's
about
right.
learning and getting better each and every day. I think there's always room for that. You know what I mean? There's always room for each and every one of us to learn and get better as referees, as judges, as coaches. You know, and know what you guys are going through, know what's running through your mind, what you're looking at, what judges are looking for, you know what I mean, in a fight. I mean, is it being more, is it ring generalship? Is it who's more aggressive? Or sometimes you could be fighting off your back foot and still be scoring.
Yes,
and
still be scoring.
You know what I mean? And so what is it that you're looking at?
I personally don't judge that much. I think I did like 3 judging this year.
Oh, you did?
I'm just not that good, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just not that good. I'll admit it, bro. But my refereeing, I just love refereeing. But again, as long as I stay out of the way, I feel, you know. And we get evaluated every fight. Mark Raylia holds us accountable. He writes us, you'll get written up. Thank you, Jesus. I haven't been written up yet.
Right
you know?
on. Right
You know?
on. Yeah, good.
But Manny, before we close, bro, is there anything you want to tell the fans? You know, real quick.
Yeah.
What do you got coming up right now, so we could,
what do
so
we
the fans could look out for that?
I'm busy. I mean, like I said, we spend the holidays in the gym because we have fights coming up in January, February. So we have, to start off on January the 16th, we have Gael Cabrera.
That's the Golden Boy show.
Yeah, Golden Boy show, up and coming talent.
It's going to be at Acuna.
the new arena in Indio.
In Indio.
It looks nice. And no
Beautiful.
longer the Fantasy Springs. Not for this one anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a brand new arena. I think it's Raul Curiel, the main event.
Main event.
And
January 16th, guys, come out. Check that out.
and then we have January the 30th. I'll be in Vegas with Sergey Bohuchuk on their TKO, their new promoter with Dana White
Yes.
and Tom Loeffler. But I'll also have a couple fighters fighting here at Thunder Studios in Long Beach. I have
You're a
Perla
busy man
Basaldua.
right now.
Yeah, exactly. And then we take off to the UK the day after.
Is there a UK fight that you know of from right now? Is it going to be televised?
I don't know.
Everything's live
I think
streamed
it's on the
nowadays.
zone. I think it's on the zone, if I'm not mistaken. But it's Brandon Figueroa will be fighting for the world title versus Nick Ball, WBA featherweight title. So we're gonna have our hands full, man. But we're going overseas, and hopefully we'll be able to come back with that belt title. And we have a few more fights in February. So I'm counting about 6 fights total between January and February. Maybe more after that, but we're always busy, man. Thank God, you know, we have a lot going on, and I have a great team behind me, great fighters, and like you said, some are big fights, and some are not. But it's a good way to keep fighters busy.
But even the ones that aren't big fight, it's a big fight to them.
Absolutely. Thank you
big
for
fight to
saying
them.
that. People have to understand that what's important to the fight is important to me. If you have a kid that's making his pro debut,
That's everything
fight,
to you, bro.
that's everything to them. So that makes it everything for me. I got to make sure that they're ready.
Amen.
Every fight is I always tell my kids, every fight is a world title fight.
That's right.
Every fight is a big fight. You know how it is with boxing. I mean, you win one fight, it's one step forward. You lose a fight, it's 5 steps back. So you just got to make sure, like you say, that you're always prepared. And if they beat us because they were better, not for lack of training or lack of effort.
One of my last questions, how do you feel? Did you hear about the Ali Act?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? You could answer or not. It's up to you.
It's complicated, man.
It is.
It's complicated. It's obviously I'm all for the fighters. I feel fighters should be protected, and if they're the ones that take that expose.
I see it pros and cons.
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
So that's why there's a very thin line that you can't cross, and so I rather just give people the benefit of that, the benefit of the doubt, especially with this new promoter, and see how things play out. See if it's beneficial for the fighter. If it is, great.
Yeah,
if it's not,
exactly.
then but we should give them the benefit of the doubt and give them an opportunity, because I really believe in boxing we need more promoters. There's too many fighters and not enough promoters. You know what I mean? Too many fighters worldwide we talked about opportunities that are not giving, that are not been given that opportunity to get exposure, to fight on a big card.
And speaking on that note, this is why I tell people when I meet them in the street, go to a club fight. You'll see some hungry fighters, man.
I'm making a couple $100. Yeah.
That's right, and they're giving their all, brother. Yeah. They're giving their all, man. And these kids, that's all they want.
Yeah.
Give me a fight, bro.
Yeah.
And then sign me, man. Give me but I'll prove it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of champions are made that way.
That's right. I mean? That's right.
So you just never know. You walk into a club show, you just never know who you're looking at. Who you're pulling for or cheering for at that moment. I've given you a couple of names already that never, like I said, never give up on your goals, your dreams, and just keep pushing forward and just make it happen.
I'm telling you, man, I look back in my life and I go, man, why couldn't I lose that weight, man? You know what I mean? Towards the end, Ben was calling me piñata, and when I'd spot, I say, what's up on that?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Canvasback Corona, eh? But,
oh, man.
But hey, Manny, I appreciate you coming on, bro. And, maybe in a year or so, we'll do this again, and I wish you all the luck with those fighters. And, hey, guys, when you see Manny out in those clubs, can they walk up to you and say hello?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stay grounded, keep your feet on the ground and stay humble, man, and just keep pushing forward. And, I'm a man of faith, bro. I'm a man of faith. It's just
one of the nicest trainers in the world. Firm but fair.
Yeah,
huh?
That's it.
The old Mills Lane, firm but fair, bro.
You talk about Ben Lita. Learned so much from that man. Learned so much. I gotta tip my head off to the utmost respect for Ben, for Rudy Hernandez.
Rudy
Hernandez, a very good friend and one of the best coaches in boxing today. One of my mentors, one of my teachers, man. I learned a lot from that guy. And he's the one that if anything, never apologize for being who you are. And that's
right.
That's one man right there. That's a straight shooter. And so many other individuals in boxing, old school, coaches and so forth that I learned so much from. And Nacho Eristain to mention, and some are gone now, like Amica Brusa and so forth. So, just. It's a beautiful sport, man. We're a family. It's a tight-knit community. Everybody knows one another, and
that's worldwide even still.
Worldwide.
You meet so many of these trainers,
Beautiful, man. Beautiful sport.
I thank you again, Manny. I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Thank you for having me.
And hey, guys, share, subscribe to Third Man in the Ring or Ref Pop by Ray. God bless, guys.